All right, so the people you see behind me, these three faces or these three names, and as you see right behind me, are among several persons who have been appointed today. President-elect has confirmed renowned lawyer Nana Asante Bediato as the secretary to the president, announcing the first batch of his appointees. Nana Akufo-Addo also confirmed for Marcel Parry as chief of staff to be assisted by Francis Asenso-Boakye and Samuel Abo-Jinapor. Meanwhile, Eugene Ahen has been named Director of Communications at the presidency.
The Secretary to the President. I've decided to appoint a 53-year-old lawyer who has been practicing for over 20 years, and that is Nana Bediato Asante. Once again, I believe this is a person of quality and who will be able to help me in the job of president as my secretary. Founder of TESCON, who has been a close aide of mine for many, many years. He's my political assistant, and he's one of the two young men who's going to act as deputies to Akosua-Afrima, Francis Asenso-Boakye. He's done a yeoman's job for me as my political assistant, as it was stage manager, especially the successful campaign that we have just been through. And I have no doubt that he has a lot to bring to the office of Deputy Chief of Staff. The other deputy is Samuel Abo-Jinapor, another invaluable assistant to me in the work that I've done that has brought me to where I am today. And he will be the Director of Communications at the presidency. That is Eugene Ahen.
So let's say a bit further with this. President-elect Nana Akufo-Addo has named former Interior Minister and Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, Albert Kandapah, as Minister for National Security, announcing the first batch of appointees. Nana Akufo-Addo noted he will have to be vetted and approved for him to take office by Parliament. The President-elect also named Distinguished Soldier Brigadier General Emmanuel Ochre as the National Security Officer.
The National Security Advisor. I've decided upon very eminent soldier, that is Brigadier General Emmanuel Ochre is the name. The operator, as it were, the coordinator, who is so-called the National Security Coordinator, is Joshua Treme. The minister, as you know, the Security and Intelligence Act 526, calls for the designation of a minister with ministerial responsibility for the intelligence agencies and their work, who will be also the accountability person for Parliament and for the public. His name will have to go before Parliament for approval before we can announce him as the minister. But he is, if you like, the minister designate on my part for the national security. Albert Kandapah.
All right, so President-elect Nana Akufo-Addo has been speaking about his survival on the inauguration day, which is just about 3 days away. And a rather interesting twist. Nana Akufo-Addo said, and I quote, "If I survive the inauguration, these are the people I will be working with." Let's take a listen to that part of his speech earlier today.
Appointments are appointments that will take effect from the 7th of January. That is, if I survive the oath-taking ceremony and I come out and be okay. So I think we're all praying that I'll survive it and then we'll be okay. But that's these are the appointments that have been announced, and they will get to work immediately on the 7th of January for us to begin this Akufo-Addo mandate.
All right, so there you have it there. So you have, as you can see on your screens right now, Chief of Staff Akosua-Afrima Marcel Parry. This woman comes in as a former legislator, the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency, and also she's worked in various areas or in organizations for that matter with ActionAid and the others who are NGOs as well. And she comes into this particular position on the back of serving as the director of the Conflict Resolution Committee of the New Patriotic Party in the 2012 general election. So she is hoping to bank on that particular experience to see how that works for her. So Deputy Chief of Staff Francis Asensubuachi, as you rightly heard Nana Addo say, founder of TESCOM, that's a Tertiary Students Confederacy of the New Patriotic Party. Deputy Chief of Staff Samuel Abojinapo as well coming through. His name came up earlier, and there were some members of the New Patriotic Party were raising questions about that. Now, Secretary to the President, Nana Santibidi, also capturing the renowned lawyer. We all know him, Director of Communications, Eugene. He's been working with the media all throughout the period of Nana Addo's campaign prior to election 2016. Director of Operations, Lord Kome. We know he's occupied various positions as an executive member of the New Patriotic Party in the Kufuor administration. Now, I've been joined in studio by two persons who would help us to understand this a bit better. Dr. Roger Cranton is the head of Public Sector Governance, Common Secretariat. He joins me in studio. Doc, good evening to you. Thank you. Dr. Mesa Maugbe is the Executive Director of the Center for Media Analysis. Doc, good evening to you as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, these names, what exactly does it communicate to you, specifically with respect to the direction that Nana Addo's backroom staff will take when he assumes office on January 7th?
Well, Nana Addo has released his closest appointments in terms of the people he's going to work directly with. And if you look at the range of the appointees, it's a mixture of very experienced, young, dynamic, not too raw, but young, youthful, with quite some experiences. And therefore, the direction that he's pointing out is that he's going to tap into the resource that he has across board, including gender. I'm very happy to see the first female chief of staff. So he has sent some signal that he's taking gender seriously, and the women counts.
Some have described it as a very inspiring combination of experience and competence. Dr. Mesa, you say that as well?
I think I totally agree. If you look at the history behind where these people are coming from, looking at Lord Kome, for instance, in charge of operations, we can tell, the role he has played at his executive position. And then looking at our own lawyer, Bedu Tonana, it's also experience. And they're not just competent, but these are people who understand drawing the synergy between competency and effective governance processes. And I think it's a very laudable machinery, but we hope to see how they're going to knit the role together.
Now, let's begin with individual analysis. And Dr. Roger, I'll start off with you. Chief of Staff. And then we know the critical role that the Chief of Staff plays in the administration of the presidency, for that matter. Not only the management of it, but the office, but of political party expectations as well. Femosa Opare is a former legislator, Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. Beyond that, in 2012, I recall she was the chairman of the Conflict Resolution Committee of the NPP in that particular election year. And apart from that as well, she's worked with some NGOs, and then in the University of Ghana, she was the head of department, one of the departments at the university as well. With this blend, does it really position her to address the issues of the management of the office of the presidency and the expectations of the party supporters as a chief of staff in that role?
Yeah, actually, the chief of staff is a blend between an organizer, administrator. At the same time, it's a bridge between the party and the office of the president in terms of the executive. So you should have somebody who understands political party, that he's accessible, he has worked with the party, he knows the ropes of the party, and at the same time he's competent enough to be a manager. In fact, he's a CEO, Chief Executive Officer, in terms of FREMA. FREMA has a lot of experience, both in competence academically. He has a master's degree. He has been in the university. In terms of practical experience, he has worked in the party. He has been an MP. He's also a gender activist, so a development specialist. So he comes with all the competencies that you can get, and on top of it, he's a female. So I think she's well qualified, she's competent, she's got experience, and he will manage the office of the presidency very well. Chief of Staff.
I say, Dr. Masabambe, now there are many who see the two deputies, Addo Jinapor and Asenso, as persons who would complement, for the lack of better expression, the shortfall of Femo Pare in the connection with the party supporters or that grassroots resonance, because here's a person, Asenso is a founder of TESCON, the youth tertiary wing of the NPP. Addo Jinapor, we know he resonates well with young people in the party as well. Does that balance bring that communication to you?
Thank you very much. I think I need to clarify that we should not say the shortfall, but rather the political connotation over there. Having these two deputies is definitely to connect to the party. There is a tendency that we have experienced in other political or under certain governments, where you realize that there is disconnection between the political party systems under the grassroots. So having these two deputies, they are definitely going to connect that, and that gives the chief of staff office a very strong, color that we need to experience. So I think it's that, but it's not, we should not rather look at it as a shortfall from, or they are going to complement, but rather they're going to add to that value that will really bring to that office. But I must also say that appointing a woman as a chief of staff also has its own political connotations. That's a mother. You need someone. At the heart of governance is the needs of the people, the needs of the family, and having a woman taking this charge, I think also add value and a very critical point to the incoming government that we need to all say congratulations to.
I'll stay with you a bit further, Dr. Masabambe, the bit about the Director of Communications at the presidency, Eugene Ahin. He is one person who has managed Nana Addo's communication or press interactions prior to election 2016 all through, after the exit of Herbert Cropper, after the 2008 elections and eventually into 2012. Do you see him well positioned to handle this job effectively?
I see him doing that, in the sense that in every political communication there is a baseline that needs to be established, and that baseline is political trust. From what Nana said when he was mentioning these names, Nana did touch on the trust that has ensued over the years between these people, and then also looking at Eugene Ahin's background. If you look at even the election that we just experienced, the role and the tendency of the new media, and I think he's also well positioned to articulate government issues or presidential communication on these various new media platforms. That is very critical for every government processes. So I think he's qualified.
But what exactly is the importance of Director of Communication, that particular role?
That particular role
at the presidency.
The Director of Communication at the presidency is a very critical role, in the sense that the president ceases to be a president if he fails to communicate effectively. And you need someone who understands even how the president thinks. How is he able to package? And it shouldn't be seen as a propaganda, but it should be seen as communicating within the balance of effective and positive governance processes. And I think that is why that particular role is very, very important. But we should also, as we move forward, we should be able to draw the line between that department and the Ministry of Information.
Absolutely. I was just coming to that, so that there wouldn't be overlapping roles as to who communicates to the media and to the general public about specific issues. But quickly, I mean, Eugene Ahin is succeeding a very murky moment when it comes to the Director of Communications of the Presidency. We all know the very frosty relationship that Stan Dogbe had with the media, and so how difficult will it be for him to run around the situation, and how different should he be acting to ensure that that kind of relationship is sustained or restored for that?
I would rather look at it from the point of how should he act in putting up a positive relationship between the media and the government seat. I think he just needs to appreciate the role of the media. The media should not be seen as just being out there to investigate, but the media should be seen as a bridge that can really allow government to communicate effectively. I think most of what we just experienced in the just recent election was that there was lack of communication, even from the presidency. So I think having Eugene Ahin playing that role and also trying to build a very effective relationship with the media, it will go a long way to add value to his portfolio. But I don't think it's time for us to look at the other side, the negativities now.
Finally, before I let you go, now the restoration or the bringing back of Minister designated National Security, Albert Kandapa is designated for that, awaiting parliamentary approval. What signal does it send going forward? Especially when we know that John Mills and John Mahama did not have that in their ministerial positions.
That's right. I think Kufuor administration also had that position. Security, very key position for every government. In fact, modern day security, you're looking at internal security and external security. And you need somebody who can take care of that so that you can get on to your business, because you don't want to be having to working and looking at your back. Now, the security advisor and the minister designate for security, these are very experienced people who understand security. I know General Ochre, because those days when I was teaching at GIMPA, he was my student who came to do executive masters. This is a brigadier general with a flying colors, and he understands. Yes, he understands a lot of security. Kendapa, as we all know, has been in government, in the parliament, and also previous appointment. So what the signal is sending generally is saying that Nana Akufo-Addo administration is going to take security seriously, so that he can and the team can get on to do their business, and then the security will be taken care of.
Dr. Roger Quantin, I thank you very much. Grateful for this. Dr. Nasan Magwe, thank you so much for your time. The analysis continues, so stay with us here on TV3. We're getting into News 360. My name is Alfred Okansi. On behalf of the rest of the team, have a good evening.